Yeah, so here we have the tree where the sun is born. And actually, I'm of Latvian ancestry, and we have this fabled tree called Saules koks, which means the tree where the sun lives. And so then I thought, here is that fabled tree. This is what it looks like, in case you ever run into it. And then here we have the sun nested there, sleeping in its nest, waiting to rise again. And so I walk around through the woods and I look for pieces of nature, like branches, trees, that speak to me. For example, these are sassafras roots, but I don't like kill the sassafras in order to get them. But where my grandparents are buried up at Riverside, they were cleaning out some brush there, and then these had been unearthed as they took something down. And I really thought that the color of them was gorgeous. And it really spoke to this sort of gold, like the tree where the sun is born would have these kind of golden roots. So that's how I started building it. And then, of course, birch, which is one of my favorite, most beautiful trees. The Latvians believe that the souls of our ancestors reside in these trees. And then somebody heard like some little insects were in there. They said they thought it was like insects. They could hear them rummaging around in there. And so then I had this like fumigated, but then I thought, my God, maybe those were the souls of my ancestors, and I just killed them. But either way, it's very safe. There's no vermin in it. And so part of the process is that I don't always necessarily know, and I'm sure that other artists know what that's like. It's not like I really clearly know what I want to do and then I just kind of get all this stuff and assemble it. I go and things start speaking to me, and then it's like a piece wants to come through me and it torments me until it's done. Or if I don't do it, and Elizabeth Gilbert talks about it, the author, if you don't do it, it just vanishes. It just goes away and it goes to somebody else. And somebody who's disciplined enough and willing to follow it through and have it appear in front of us. So I feel like we're always cooperating as artists with some other unseen forces as well. The spirit world. And that in a sense, I'm like collaborating with God here. I'm actually God's assistant, and He's teaching me, or let's not get into all that. The great creator, the great spirit, like teaching me about creation, like what kind of incredible intelligence and grace goes into creating these shapes. And I'm sure because you're doing the same thing with your artwork, you just are never tired of the branching and how incredible it is, right? And you want to, and I want to engage with it and reproduce it and study it. And then so calling myself an artist allows me to have that time out there in creation. And I'm very grateful for that. Wendell Berry, author, environmental activist, and farmer, writes, "When despair grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. The eternal cycle of the sun. With the autumnal equinox, darkness begins its ascent over light. When despair grows in me, I also go into the woods and begin the search for treasures to soon assemble into sculptures. The mists of my Latvian childhood, like an ancient GPS, whisper the way in my ear. All around me, I sense the presence of living spirits. When I make art, I rest in the grace of the world. My blood pressure harmonizes, my anxiety levels drop. I stop grinding my teeth. I feel happy, free. Sometimes I feel guilty, like I should be accomplishing something more concrete, something useful, like building a great big wall, maybe. But then I comfort myself with the thought that at least with my episodes of calm contentment, I do not add to the storm of depression and fear that hovers on our horizon. My hope is that the viewer, after glancing at the solar totem, will also be transported, however briefly, to a different realm where they will remember how our beloved and dependable sun engraves an eternal whirling circle into the rhythm of our lives.